Welcome to the Two Ton Nerds. As always, my name is Max James. It is October 9th, 2014, which means it's day 9 of the 31 Days of Fright horror movie project, year 3. And the movie of the day is You're Next. My first impressions, I did not like it. The way the movie started out was pretty good. I mean, they broke one of the big cardinal horror movie rules: don't have sex, and you know they were going to die instantly as soon as the first frame of this movie started. But at the beginning of the movie was actually setting up to be really cool, and then the premise of the movie and just a bunch of brothers and sisters and their respective wives and girlfriends. They kind of come in and to help celebrate their mom and dad's anniversary at their house, at this house out in the middle of the woods. And it was like, oh, and then people start to attack it. And that's a pretty cool idea. I really like it. And I wish they would have left it a certain way. And I'll kind of get into it because there will be spoilers. Because I didn't like this movie. I will spoil this movie, so if you want to just skip this movie and move on to the next day, wait until tomorrow, which I won't be doing spoilers, but I'm going to do spoilers for this one. So, the movie, one of the dates gets picked off very quickly, just a straight bolt to the head from a crossbow. And their decision making through this entire movie has been kind of like, come on, people, just they split up. So they do things that shouldn't have been done, and they do things like they split up halfway through the movie somehow. By like the dad's like, I gotta go do it. He just wanders off, and then the main girl's boyfriend he disappears. You don't see him until the end of the movie, and I'll get into the twist in a second. And then there's a moment where I should have picked up on this. When I think back at this movie, there was a moment where I should he is the killer. He's the one who's behind all this. Because there's this line in this movie. Spoilers. Remember, spoilers. There's a line in this movie where they're all checking their cell phones, like, oh dear God, and then I don't have any signals. I had signals earlier today. And then one of the brothers immediately he's like, well, there's jammers. You know, you can find them for like $30 online or whatever. And it's like, should have been what's it called? The big red flag on he's behind all this. And he is. That one brother is behind all this. And that's where the twists come in. There's 2 moments in this movie where the twists should have been phenomenal, where this movie would have been like, oh, okay, it's pretty cool, and all of a sudden, there's a moment where the dad gets killed, and he ends up getting his neck slit by this giant machete, and the dude who's behind the sheep mask or wolf mask or whatever, he's just standing there, and the brother's like, you shouldn't have, why did you have to do that in front of me? And it reveals that brother is behind it. And so then there's another moment where one of the two brothers, one of the brother had an arrow in his back throughout a good portion of the movie, and he blacked out and he's been just kind of forgotten for a few minutes too. So they go down in the basement to get weapons or forge weapons or whatever you call it, and then they kind of get into an argument, and all of a sudden the brother who's behind all this starts stabbing the brother with screwdrivers and random objects, and that's what I think that's where this twist should have been, where they started to argue, because earlier in the movie they were just arguing over dinner. That's where I think it should have been shh. And the moment where he stabbed him, that's where there should have been the twist, I think. But then the main girl, she kind of reveals that she was kind of raised on a survivalist compound, which is pretty cool, because I do have to commend that. I was not expecting that, where she's like, well, she was a wild card in the movie, and that's what I liked about it. And I do say there is some redeeming qualities about this movie, but they're just overall, I just didn't care for it. The main girl, she was on a survivalist compound, which explains why she's very up and at it. If you've ever seen this movie, you'll know that she's very hands-on, very take charge kind of way, and she's like just devising booby traps throughout the movie. And there's one that was pretty good. I like the nails in the floor, very Home Alone-ish, which I think was kind of funny. And then the whole fire axe through swinging fire axe when you open the door. But I think that would have been cooler if this movie had more booby traps like that, especially. But anyways, the acting wasn't too bad. There were some scenes where the acting's like, oh, come on, you just spend a few extra minutes to get a different take. And then you got the blood and guts. The blood and guts are just normal scary. This movie isn't really scary in my mind. The most of the scary moments were like getting their neck sliced, or seeing a nail kind of be removed from a bottom of a boot, and so you don't really actually see any penetration there. And then and it's just it was kind of a weak horror movie in my eye. I mean, there were some really cool parts in it. Excuse me. And there was a nice twist there at the end. I thought the fire axe was going to come back to haunt the girl, because I thought the way, because one of the brother, I'm trying to word this. The main girl's boyfriend kind of disappears halfway through the movie. You kind of forget about him in some, and then you realize, oh hey, there's one more person still alive, or what happened to that guy? And he calls and reveals that the brother is in on it. But up to this point, I'm thinking when she sets up the fire axe, it's going to come back to haunt her and end up killing the boyfriend by accident, but it doesn't. It ends up being wasted and on a cop who shows up to inexplicably just kind of shoots the main girl in the shoulder, and she kind of crawls to the doorway and is like, no, and that's where the axe, you don't even see it hit the cop. It just goes black and like big red splatter blood on the title screen, and it's like, you're next. That's really about it. I mean, I really wanted to like this movie, and there is some redeeming qualities about it. I mean, the main girl is pretty good. The twist, it's okay. Then I really like when they start fighting back and they start killing off the people who are attacking the house. That's pretty good. And then there's also some of the booby traps were pretty good, and what else was there? It's just, there was a couple moments that had some redeeming qualities. It wasn't a complete loss, but just for me, it was kind of a letdown. So, what only thing left to say is my classification scale: 1 being run-of-the-mill horror, 2 best watch with a group, 3 more than average horror but adds nothing new to the horror genre, 4 helps move the horror genre forward, and 5 being a horror classic. Now, your next, I think, honestly, would be a good movie to watch with a group of friends, because you would be laughing. I mean, this movie I think it'd be kind of a movie where you pick apart with your friends, and I think that'd be perfect for it. And other than that, it's a run-of-the-mill horror. I mean, and you've seen people attack houses, and with more than one person inside the house, done better. So, that's really all I gotta say. It's best watched with a group, but it's also a run-of-the-mill horror. So, that's it. My name is Max James, and I'm going to go geek out.